feel like movies like these could be completely avoided if people just do what teachers have been telling us all these years. Double check your work. Dude, if you send a guy to go kill someone and he just shows up with blood on his face saying, yeah, I did it. I did what you told me to do. Go send somebody else or go do it yourself, bro. Like, don't just believe him. Like, he could be saying anything. All of this stuff could be avoided. Or, you know, when you don't double check your work, things like this happen. You get a very angry man from 20 years ago showing up at your doorstep trying to cut your head off. And now look, teachers were really right this whole time. It's mind-blowing. The Northman. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and this is my review for The Northman, starring Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, and Anya Taylor-Joy. And the movie was directed by Robert Eggers, and it takes place in, you know, Viking time, and essentially it's a very Lion King-esque movie where you have this prince and a king, and, you know, the king is trying to raise the son up to be this, you know, his heir. He's trying to raise him up to, you know, rule a kingdom one day, and his brother, the king's brother, betrays him. He gets him killed, tries to kill the son escapes, comes back years later after training with this very secretive wolf-esque, what do I call them, a cult, I guess, in these times. It's a group of men who train to become straight killers, just straight wolves, and he comes back for vengeance. And this is Lion King-esque, but I promise you, this is not the kid-friendly Lion King you ended up watching, because this movie is bloody and gory in all sorts of ways. All right, so I'm going to start off with what I did like about the movie, and it's Alexander Skarsgård. It's not even close. He's the best thing about the movie. He's the standout. He's the everything in this movie. His performance is so breathtaking. It's captivating. It's so intense. It's like he had to capture all the emotions of rage, depression, darkness. Like, he really had to dig deep into a place of just darkness and despair to even bring out this character, and he does it so well. I mean, he absolutely killed it. He deserves a nomination for this. There are so many shots in this movie where it's kind of like they're long panned out shots, but they're definitely there for a reason. And I just completely just repeated myself way too many times, but they're there for a reason. They're these long panned out shots of how they're capturing, you know, people's emotions and what they're actually going through. And Skarsgård does every single one of those shots to a T. He does it amazingly. And like I said, he captures this character, the vengeance, the violence, the intensity, the strength, the brute force that this character needs. Alexander Skarsgård gives him that and so much more. You got to understand, this person has saw his dad die in the most treacherous way. And the way the trailer goes, he's literally dedicated to avenging his father, freeing his mother, and killing his Führer. I will kill my Führer. I think I'm saying that right. It's Führer. I'm adding like way too much emphasis on that, but Führer. It's coming in nicely. I mean, I can't only talk about, you know, Alexander Skarsgård's performance. I gotta talk about everybody in this movie. Nicole Kidman, Anya Taylor-Joy, Ethan Hawke. For the very short time that Ethan Hawke is in this movie, he places his stamp on it. He wants you to remember that he was in this movie. He does for a very short time that he's in this movie, he does a phenomenal job. He blows his part completely out of the water. I don't know the actor's name who played the uncle, but he did a fantastic job as well. I mean, he was a great antagonist throughout this entire thing. Nicole Kidman, I feel like if she got a little bit more screen time, or essentially maybe just a little more to do in the film than she was given, she could have been nominated. I still think she definitely gave a nominated-esque worthy performance, but I don't know if she'll be nominated for this one, but she definitely should be looked at or considered because she did a very good job in this role. Anya Taylor-Joy, before I move on to any other, you know, aspect of this movie, Anya Taylor-Joy is a rising star. If you have not seen things like The Witch, if you haven't seen Late Night in Soho, if you haven't seen, hell, even not Glass. If you haven't seen Split, Anya Taylor-Joy is an absolute beast. She is just somebody who's killing every role she's given, and she's doing a phenomenal job in this movie. And honestly, there's not much to go in depth on what their characters are doing because, like I said, it's a very Lion King-esque movie, so you can kind of tell what everybody's role is in this film. And my friend told me this is taken from like a Shakespearean dialogue, which a lot of stuff is, nowadays, a lot of stuff is taken from Shakespeare, but this one specifically is taken from kind of a Shakespeare-esque role, book, whatever, story, and it copies it to a T. You can definitely tell it has that Shakespearean, feel, but other than that, man, when it comes to, I feel like this movie has a little bit of something for everybody because, like I said, when it comes to the action is next to none. I mean, it is. It make like you feel, you don't necessarily feel bad that this is happening to people, but you feel what's happening to people. Like when people are getting their heads chopped off, when people are getting cut through, stabbed, or whatever, like you feel it. Like it is made sure, like you can feel every piercing in your bone from what is happening on screen. It is magnificent the way these action set pieces are put together. I was thinking to myself, while I was watching this movie, could other people, like just regular general moviegoers, enjoy this kind of thing? Because Vikings, I understand, isn't for everybody, but I truly feel like if you really give this movie a chance, it is a great movie no matter what, but if you really give it a chance, if you're the general moviegoer, there's something in it for everybody. Even if you just take away something from the action set pieces, even if you just take away something from Skarsgård's performance, there's something in here for everybody. And that brings me to my next point. Something that I thought this movie really did well as far as the story goes is they did something that I rarely see in movies, and that's when a character is going through a journey, or essentially they're going through whatever they're going through throughout the movie to get from point A to point B. There's never a what's next, or it's never as if anybody's thinking about what happens next on that journey. Alexander Skarsgård's literal internal conflict throughout the movie is he doesn't have a purpose. He doesn't know what to do at once he, avenges his dad and frees his mom. Like he doesn't know what's left for him to do afterwards because, and this is said in the, once this is said in the trailer. Well, actually, I'm not even going to touch on it, but yeah, because I feel like I'm digging into spoiler territory on that. So I'm not going to touch on that at all. But essentially, his internal conflict throughout the movie is what to do after he's dedicated his entire life to avenging his dad and coming back and killing his uncle at some point. And once he's done with that, it's kind of like, what else is there to live for? What else am I supposed to do? I love that about this movie. I love that that's an actual conflict because that's rarely ever seen. It's like, yeah, like what do you do after dedicating your life to something like that? Like you can't just go become a painter or a carpenter. It's like, what? I was a Navy SEALs type, Black X Special Forces type killer. Like, no, why do I can't change people's carpets after that? Like, what kind of career change is that? No, this movie brings that sort of realism to it, and it just blew me away. Alexander Skarsgård, the writing of this movie, the action, the acting. Let me explain something to you. The intensity that you feel between characters when they're having conflicts and when they're actually having even if it's just through conversation. You can feel the intensity, you can feel the drama, you can feel the frustration. Whatever emotion is being replicated on screen, you can feel it, you can sense it, and they do it perfectly. The movie just, oh my gosh, guys, this is such a really good movie. I am not astounded as I was, walking out of Batman or something like that, but I was definitely floored. I was definitely excited about what I was watching. I was definitely having a great time just throwing popcorn in my face, watching a great action movie. Now, granted, I'm not going to market this movie like it's an 80s action film where there's a lot of just dumb stuff going on. No, there is a lot of story here. There's a lot of depth to it. There is a Shakespearean feel to this film. And that'll bring me to I'm not even going to name this the bad about the film, because I don't necessarily have anything bad to say. But I'm going to say I'm nitpicking here because for me, this is just something that stood out, and you probably already know what it is, but let's get to it anyway. So what I'm going to nitpick at here, and you probably already guessed it, guys, yeah, it's the runtime. Look, this movie's about 2 hours and 16 minutes. Now, the movie doesn't necessarily, it felt long for me. But here's the thing where I kind of started nitpicking at the runtime. So at the very beginning, and the reason I don't have a really big problem with the runtime, in the very beginning, there's an established prophecy that needs to be fulfilled, and it kind of, sets up the entire thing for the movie. There's a prophecy that needs to be fulfilled. Alexander Skarsgård has to fulfill that prophecy to a T in order for it to actually come true. And in order for it to come true, he has to wait essential moments throughout the movie. Like he can't just go in, just cause all hell and just kill the guy. He has to make sure that this is weighted, that there's supposed to be a certain setting. Lava is supposed to be a certain setting, like time. Lava is supposed to be coming out of the ground. It's supposed to be a certain place and time that this all is supposed to go down, and he has to wait for that. And because of that, the movie, I don't want to say it drags out because everything does have a purpose in this film, but you just kind of, it's just, there's moments in the movies where he could have attacked him or killed him or done what he needed to do then, and it's kind of like, I have to keep waiting for this prophecy thing to come true. Like, I can't do it until, we can't do anything about this until the prophecy, is ready for everything to come true. And it takes time to get there, but like I said, I'm just going to call that nitpicking because I don't necessarily want to say it's not bad. Like, the runtime it's a pretty decent runtime for this kind of movie, and it doesn't fly by per se, but once, like I said, there's just moments in the movies where we could have killed them by now. Like, we could have already gotten it over with, and like I said, the prophecy is the reason we have to wait for all this to come true. So for that reason, the runtime is very well explained about why it's that long. So that's why I just call it nitpicking. But those are my only real issues and quotations with the movie. Other than that, like I said, the movie is phenomenal. So like I said, guys, overall, this movie is fantastic. It's got a lot of action, a lot of gore, just a great performances from almost everybody in the film, including William Dafoe, who I don't think I've shouted out yet. William Dafoe just tries to do a good job in whatever he's in, and I honestly got to appreciate the guy for that because in this movie, he's acting his most William Dafoe self, and I just love it. There's nothing this man does that I don't enjoy, and I really appreciate William Dafoe for just being himself. Other than that, guys, overall, this is a great movie. It is a very hard R Lion King-esque movie. I feel like it has a little something in it for everybody. Personally, the reason I'm kind of on the fence about that is because I can literally hear my cousin or, some of my family members just going, you really made us watch a 2-hour movie for that? Or it really took that long to get to that point. I can just hear them in my head saying that. That's why I'm kind of in the nitpicking stance about the runtime, just because I can hear people's complaints. I've watched movies with I love my family before I say anything else. I love my family. But I have watched movies with a lot of just characters. I'm just going to call them characters. And it's not always the best, but I love them to death and they're my family. But I can definitely hear them complaining about the runtime of this movie. But for me personally, this movie is phenomenal. This movie is great. I hope I can get other adjectives other than those two. But this movie just did everything it needed to for me. It went past my expectations, honestly, just about how gripping and intense it was. And actually how it kept my attention because I'm not the biggest Viking guy or, Norse god, Norse goddess. I'm not the biggest, fanatic of those things. But so I was very skeptical about how much it could actually keep my attention. From the very beginning, Robert Eggers does a fantastic job of keeping you floored in your seat, and you are just having a great time from start to finish. And because of all that and more, guys, I'm going to go ahead and give The Northman a 4 out of 5 stars. Guys, thank you so much for watching my review. I really appreciate it. Look, The Northman, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Let's get a discussion going in those comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.